What's going on, everyone? Welcome to QVO Games. My name is Juan. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. This video is going to about the games coming to retail the week of November 20th. We have a really great selection of games, and I say that almost every week, but lately we have had some heavy hitters and some great additions to the board game market, and some great pickups, honestly, as well. We're going to get this video started right away just because we do have a couple of great videos. However, I want to start off the video with just saying thank you for watching this video, and I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for commenting, liking, even just watching the video and making it this far. I appreciate it a lot. I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, or even family days coming up as well. Just, I want to wish you the best and have a great week in your holiday stuff. Whatever you do, whatever you celebrate, I would just enjoy it, praise it, be happy and thankful with everything that we have going on around here. The board game space is growing. We have a lot of great board games. I'm sure we have a lot of great families and friends who play with us. And I want to just send that thank you out to all of you, and I appreciate it. We're down, I think at this moment, we're like at 118 or 120 subscribers at this point on the channel. And that's a pretty big number, for me at least. I never expected it to get there, especially not this fast. It was honestly really impressive, and I'm just really thankful to have you guys watching these videos weekly. I mean, we're reaching 100 views per video now, which is a really big change to the 30-20 views we used to get in previous videos. So thank you so much for watching the video. Now let's get this game started. Let's get this video going and started, and let's get some board games presented. Just so you know, for the disclaimer here, I am covering the games coming to retail in the US specifically. Some of these games may have already been released in other regions of the world, and therefore you may have already seen content, pictures, you may already own this game, one or the other. However, keep in mind, I'm covering the US retail release dates. There's also a global shipping crisis going on. Therefore, some of these games may be pushed back in releases. And if they do, I will make sure to cover you in the new release week video for that game's release day. So just keep that in mind, and I will definitely keep you updated. I usually do, and I do it at the beginning. I do a small update, and I say what exactly is going on and what the change date was from the previous release date. So now we got that out of the way, let's get the video going. First things first, the oh so popular Ahoy by Letter Games, right? This game, I think, was released or showcased at Gen Con this year, and Gen Con 2022, and I was really impressed. So if you don't know who Letter Games is, they make really popular games like Root. Root is an extremely popular game. Really difficult to table for me just because I don't have a stable group to play it. However, I play the digital version of it all the time. And Ahoy is another asymmetrical game that's coming out by them. It's going to be coming out this week. I don't have the release date for this one. I just know it's coming out this week and should be in retail sometime this week. Hopefully by Black Friday. Maybe some of you guys get to pick it up on a sale of some sort, like a buy two get one or something from some retail store you go to and shop at. So it's going to be Ahoy. It's a pirate asymmetrical game where you're going in as your different squadrons of your different pirate crews, and your whole goal is to gain fame. And you do that by going in and taking over different territories and battling other pirates. There's a dice placement action selection here going on with Ahoy, and I actually have some great pictures here, which is I really appreciate. So going off a little bit on this here, there's going to be asymmetry here. So each different pirate crew is asymmetric. This game is supposed to play in around 40 to 75 minutes, which is definitely a really big difference to when you play Root, because Root can usually be like a 2-hour game for me. At least for me it is. Some great pictures here as well, and the great picture of the components. The map looks really modular, like a bunch of little squares. Not too sure about them. Yeah, it looks like it's all modular here. All individual squares, therefore that means different maps. Also, I'm sure in the future they have released a ton of expansions for Root, and I'm assuming if Ahoy kicks off the way Root did, I can see more expansions coming for Ahoy as well. Therefore, the life cycle of the game, or the life of the game, will be extended with all the expansions that comes. This is going to be an example of your player boards here, where you place your dice here to do your actions, and there's going to be different numbers here depending on which one you do. One thing I couldn't read from the rulebook is if you roll these dice to then choose your actions, or if you just kind of place them there with different numbers. That was one thing I was kind of confused about when I was reading the rulebook and trying to find out exactly how this game plays and how to present this to you guys. But that's going to be Ahoy. Ahoy looks, like I said, Letter Games is known for making phenomenal games, and I really wouldn't put it past them if Ahoy isn't another winner or another big hit out the ballpark for them. This is going to be Ahoy by Letter Games coming out this week. Oh man, this is going to be Clank Catacombs. I was looking for there it is, the board game picture. So Clank holds a really special place in my heart for me. It was one of the first one of the deck builders that kind of got me into deck building a little more. I played deck builders before, but it was just Clank that really just like captured me. I don't know if it was maybe the previous experience where maybe Clank had a refined system compared to previous games. However, it was the original Clank. So you can see it up here, Clank the Deck Building Adventure. I have them, I don't know if you can see from the camera. They're right here. I have Legacy, Clank in Space, Clank, and an expansion there. And I have a lot more expansions as well within the game, board game boxes. But Clank in Space and Clank Catacombs is like the newest addition to the Clank series. Clank Catacombs, honestly, I am extremely excited for. So there's a couple things, and I think there was pictures here. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. I can explain a little bit with this here. So Clank is a deck building game where your whole goal is to go in there's a competition going on where you're going into a dungeon to steal as much loot as possible, right? That loot is like basically trophies, gold, treasure, and they all have a certain amount of points that you can be awarded to. You get awarded to at the end of the game, and that's how you win, by having the most points. Your points don't just come by that loot itself. It also comes from the cards you collect. Typical deck builder, you have point values within different cards, and each point value adds up to your score at the end of the game, along with other modifiers to your score depending on win conditions and such. So the cool part about Clank Catacombs, though, is that Clank. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this. This is coming out November 21st for the retail. I forgot to mention at the beginning part. Clank Catacombs coming November 21st by Direwolf Digital. Now back to the game. So it's going to be a modular board, which is really, really cool. The reason why it's cool is because now every time you play the game, it's not just the main board or a main board, right? Clank always had just a board, and I think they kind of expanded on that with Clank in Space with making a modular board. So you have, when you add different expansions or collect different expansions, you can actually have different boards and different setups for the game, which adds the replayability. You play a different board every time, and it plays differently and it feels different. Not plays differently, it just feels different. Like there's a different layout to the map, therefore affecting your new strategy. Clank Catacombs, each tile comes out as you play it. So you're going to be playing your tile, you're going to be moving your little token around the board, your meeple, and you're going to be flipping tiles, and you kind of get to choose what orientation you want depending on how much movement you have left. So basically, like I said, each new play has different tiles, has the new tiles, and of course a new way of the map being set up. This is probably in Direwolf's best interest, honestly, just because now that with Catacombs coming out, the expansions, they are known to release a lot of expansions for Clank. Now the expansions are like times 10, right? New tiles, new types of tiles that you put in, new things with each tile, take out and replace certain tiles to add new mechanics or new locations. It's not just the board now, it's every single individual tile can be modified in some way, shape, or form. Clank Catacombs is going to be incredible. I would highly recommend it. If you're into deck builders or if you're not new to deck builders, Clank Catacombs is probably the top of my list in deck building games. I love and adore Clank, and I really can't wait for Clank Catacombs. Clank Catacombs coming out November 21st by Direwolf Digital. Coming up next is going to be Astra by Mindclash Games. Dang, Mindclash Games. I just can't even, they just are always so pushing. They're pushing the theme, right? The themes always feel so different with Mindclash. It's never just a new X type of theme game, right? Theme board game. Astra, for example, is based on astrology, and your whole goal is to complete your cards, the cards in the middle with different stars, to complete them to gain fame or points. Gain fame, essentially, which are the points. Each turn, you're going to be taking a specific action, and the actions are going to help you to complete these cards in the middle. They're going to help you gain points, and it's really interesting. Even the rulebook has an explanation of each single set of stars. When I say they're constellations, and they all have a different power or ability, and they're all within here, within the card here. And I think they did not have a picture. That's the best it's going to get right now. So they have the cards here have abilities and stuff that you get when you complete them, and those help you gain more fame or more resources or some type of ability. I love the theme itself, right? I don't think we have a lot of star-based themes like this, so that's really interesting to see a astrology game based around the stars, and your whole goal is to complete different constellations. That's awesome. Mindclash is always pushing that bar higher. I mean, and I really appreciate the fact that they're releasing these type of new games. Astra by Mindclash Games is going to release to retail November 21st. Coming up next by Renegade Games is going to be G.I. Joe the deck building game Coldsnap expansion. G.I. Joe deck building game is part of a line of different themed games that you basically have a deck builder and you have a type of board, a set of cards in the middle. You're battling through the cards to defeat different missions. G.I. Joe deck building. If you're a big fan of G.I. Joe, this skin's probably up your alley. If you're not and you want a decent game, this one's pretty good. The Power Rangers one's pretty good. And I've heard My Little Pony's pretty good. I haven't played that one. And I haven't played Transformers. But I also hear good things about that game as well. G.I. Joe deck building game. This is going to be a expansion pack. It's going to add 2 more missions, a couple new villains, a couple new cards that are going to add some variability to your game. It's going to be released on November 22nd. Coming up next is going to be Tiletum, and I am going to pronounce this wrong, and correct me. Like I said, I don't mind, and I love being corrected because it just makes me a better person, and not a better person, but it just educates me, right? I believe it's called Tiletum. Tiletum by Board and Dice, coming out November 23rd. Tiletum, I mean, first off, Board and Dice. Board and Dice are making really good games. Their T-series of games, Tiletum is going to be good, I'm pretty sure, and I'm really excited to play this game as well. Tiletum is a dice management game. You have basically you're going through as a merchant through Europe, and you're selling different items. However, to do so, you also kind of collect resources. Keeping in mind that when you collect resources, you can either collect resources or use your action die, depending on how much you do on the action. You have a more powerful action or a less powerful action to have more resources. It's a little bit of a balance, which is pretty interesting. The game, honestly, it's probably going to be incredible. I can already see it. Look at this game board itself. You're going through, like I said, you're a merchant selling items throughout Europe. And you're going, as you can even see it here, actually. So, whole goal, collect resources, sell them out to merchants. You're going to be working on your own economy there, trying to do your best you can to sell to sell as much as you can and get as many points as possible. The game looks interesting and the game looks really interesting. I really think that I've been getting more into this style of games more different themes, varying even mechanics and such. Not mechanics. That's actually the wrong word to say. Not the mechanics, it would be more so the theme itself, and I think these are more heavier Euro games that I'm starting to enjoy more. Tiletum is one that I really want to try. I've heard a lot of things about it. If you're on their Discord as well, Board Next Discord, they've been talking about it a lot and actually even inviting people to play the game online. So I want to try this game out. I haven't got a chance to enter one of those sessions, unfortunately, and I hope to just eventually soon, or even if it comes out, I'll probably just purchase it and buy it myself. Tiletum by Board and Dice coming out November 23rd. Also by Board and Dice, Terracotta Army coming out November 23rd. The Terracotta Army. So essentially, and I might be saying that is wrong as well. I am horrible with pronouncing certain things. I love to pronounce certain things and pronounce them right and try my best to, but I can be wrong. Terracotta Army is what I'm assuming that's how you say that. Terracotta Army by Board and Dice is you're playing as a artist or a craftsman developing these figures. And I want to show you these pictures. I love that. They have pictures. Board and Dice has pictures for all their stuff here. So all the figures are lined up and stored here, which is really interesting. Also, these miniatures are like triple use, I feel almost. Like, they look really nice. They look really good sculpted miniatures. And it's honestly that they're all organized in this little management system here. That's great. Your whole goal essentially is you're a craftsman and you're building the Terracotta Army. You have a little bit of a ring on the board here, and these boards are how you're going to do your actions. You can amplify your actions by putting down different craftsmen or little meeples onto the board to amplify the actions you're going to do in what order. And that can also help you do different combos or action up and do massive kind of turns. So it's a little bit of strategy, a lot of thinking in this game. Another one game, like this game also looks like it's a really big thinky game. Like this is gonna be a brain burner. I'm gonna play this game and then want to go lay down and like watch a movie because I'm gonna be exhausted. But it's Terracotta Army. The theme honestly is really interesting as well. I love the miniatures, and the way you're placing them here is going to affect in-game scoring a lot. And you're recreating the Terracotta Army with all these figures here. Game looks interesting. It's by Board and Dice, coming out November 23rd, Terracotta Army. Another game by Board and Dice, but this is going to be an expansion. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, I think. Tawantinsuyu, the Golden Age, is going to be an expansion for Tawantinsuyu, which is the original board game. You're playing as the Incas in this. You're not playing as Inca. Yeah, I guess you're kind of playing as the Incas, and you're trying to basically pleasure the sun god. The sun god has tasked you with rebuilding the villages and the realm in the best way form possible, and you're doing that to impress the gods essentially. This is going to add some variability. There's some more variability and more modules to your game. It's going to add new win conditions, new actions to do, new places to put your meeples and your workers. You're sending out your meeples out, which is the people of the village, to go and start building a course. These are just going to add some new modules and some new variability to your game. That's basically what it's going to do. Tawantinsuyu, the Golden Age, coming out November 23rd by Board and Dice. Also coming out this November 23rd is going to be Featherlight by WizKids. Now this is a lighter game, right? It comes with it's basically just cards, a score pad, and a rule book in this box. Your whole goal is to have specific cards in a collection or a set to try to score points. And it's like a hand management game with a bunch of new different cards, and they look actually really beautiful illustrated cards. I can see them right here. WizKids doesn't really put out much pictures with their games, so it's really difficult for me to find pictures for you guys to see or more stuff to see. It's going to be right here in the middle. And the interesting or different part is not just a set collection game or a hand management game as well. You're going to also be working with that same hand against your opponent. You are both working with the same hand trying to score your points. And you kind of do that by taking out cards and putting cards in, and also trying to make sure your final scoring, after all the cards are gone, your final scoring happens. So you kind of have the time limit all the way to the final card to play and mismatch cards in that hand that you're also sharing with the opponent. So that's what makes it different a little bit. Oh, here they are. Yeah, I completely said that out of line with WizKids. However, this is not the last time I have not seen pictures for this. So here are some pictures of the cards, beautifully illustrated. Like I said, you're going to be sharing a set of cards with your opponent, trying to mix match and trying to make combos and set collecting to get points for the game. That's going to be Featherlight by WizKids, coming out on November 23rd. Coming out November 24th is going to be Imperial by Portal Games. So it's a 4X style game. And they influence a little bit like a Euro X game, like a Euro X type of game into that. I'm not too sure what that new concept is. I was reading the rule book and noticed a couple things. However, this is supposed to be a really quick playing, not really quick, a faster playing 4X style game, Brazil Imperial. It's, like I said, based around 16th, 19th century Brazil, and you're playing as different monarchs. And the monarchs are going to be all asymmetrical, of course. They do different things. And this is going to be your map here on the board. You're going to be playing as the different monarchs here. The game looks like it plays pretty quick. I mean, that's a pretty small board, right? You're going to 4X fashion. You're going to be building buildings to collect resources, building your troops to go out and take over and fight different other monarchs within the area. Your whole goal essentially is to destroy your opponent. That's your entire goal. When you go through, and you're going to have your player board here, you're going to have your upgrades, your different ships. Your buildings are indicated by little circles, which you can see here. This is supposed to be a building that you have that you can read, and your player board that would show you what that is. So it looks like it goes right here. It's going to be a quicker playing 4X game. I have gotten into 4X games. The only thing is, typically the barrier to entry is the rulebook. They're usually very heavy games to read, and even teaching someone who may not be into that game. I have like maybe 1 or 2 friends who are really into those games, and we're all really busy, so aligning our schedules to play 4X games can be very difficult. This game looks like it's more accessible. Looks pretty small. It doesn't look like it's playing in a very large board, aka Twilight Imperium, right? Where like the game takes like 8-12 hours to play. There's a lot of great 4X games, but Brazil Imperial looks like a different one based on the 16th-19th century Brazil, and you're playing as one of the monarchs. This is going to be Brazil Imperial by Portal Games, coming out November 24th. Coming out November 25th is going to be Time of Empires by Pearl Games. This one's interesting, and I'm going to explain why I think it's interesting. So the game plays in real time. So the whole game plays in about 27 minutes, and it's timed. So you have timers that you flip over when you take different actions. I found that extremely interesting. I think real-time games are really interesting. The reason why is because it kind of stops that mental roadblock or like a AP, right? Analysis paralysis when you're playing a game, and it's rushing you to your actions. I think that's really interesting just because I enjoy real-time games like that, because I like that pressure, or that kind of seeing like you're putting pressure on yourself or being pressured, and you're trying to see if you can even how great you can do within that time limit. You do have stand timers, and you have different actions on your board. I want to show you that, and I believe they do not have a picture. Let's see if I can find it here for you guys. Okay, these are just going to be different cards. So on your player board, you're going to have little circle areas where your actions are essentially. And on those actions, you're going to put a timer. So you have that much time to do out your whole action. And then when that time runs out, you put it down on a different action to do that, to be able to do different actions, of course, with that timer. The stand timers are a really big component of the game. The time itself is going to be all about just kind of getting through. And this is a Civ style game. So your action is going to be just building resources and building up a city. Person with the best city at the end of the game wins. And in all, it's under 27 minutes. That's nuts. Okay, like I've seen Civ games that take like an hour and a half, maybe an hour. At most or easiest, probably an hour and a half. 27 minutes is crazy. I would love to see this, like honestly play it and experience this for myself to find out how it is. Apparently they have an app or like a game for this already. I don't think it's going to relate too much, honestly, to the game itself, just because I feel like the pressure is more there when you're playing the board game. This is going to be Time of Empires coming out November 25th by Pearl Games. Coming out on November 25th as well, Heat Pedal to the Metal. These racing games. So it's a racing game and a board game. I was really skeptical about these games before, right? I was extremely skeptical. After playing Downforce, which is a different racing game, my eyes were open. I'm like, that's actually really fun. It was really exciting to be able to play different cards and move your cards around the track, depending on what cards you play and getting in front of people and blocking ways. It was fun. I really had a great time. Heat to the Metal is going to be kind of interesting. Heat Pedal to the Metal is going to be interesting as well. It's a pretty interesting looking card game. You're going to have different cards, and the cards you play are going to determine what speed you're going, right? Almost so much like what space you're moving. Keeping in mind that when you're playing these cards at any moment, not any moment, when you get to curves, you can actually spin out of control and burn out, right? So and that's going to be kind of here. You have to make sure you hit these with the perfect amount of speed. That's a kind of cool little component. So keeping also in mind that your car can overheat. If you go way too fast and your car can overheat. I find that kind of exciting. And there's different legends, of course, people who are drivers who have different abilities. I would like to try this game. And it almost seems like even the cars, just if there's different cars that do different abilities, that's kind of neat, right? Imagine some expansions that just add some varying cars and different like legends who maneuver the cars and add different abilities. Pedal to the Metal looks like a really cool game, honestly. I can't really go back to being ignorant and saying I've never played a racing game, but this one does look really interesting. This is coming out November 25th. And our last game by Z-Man Games and collaboration with one more, I believe it was One More Time Games. I almost had a different name and a different publisher. This Challenges is an interesting party game. So the game itself is a capture the flag style game, and it's a party game. It plays 1 to 8 players. There's a little bit of deck building involved where you have your cards, and your whole goal is to outnumber your opponent. See here, and you have your numbers up top. You're going to be playing your cards as well as using the abilities in the bottom. Your whole goal essentially is to take the flag from your opponent. And I want to show you that. Okay, I think this is going to be the best one we have here. So your flag is going to be in the middle, and it's going to give you points. So you're going to keep battling one-on-one against different people. The last two standing, the people with the most points, actually end up going head-to-head against each other for the final round, and that person's declared winner. The winner of that match or round is declared the winner. You're playing cards, essentially. You're just playing cards, trying to outmatch them, and trying to have more cards than they do. And there's different abilities. That's kind of the whole game. It's a party game by Z-Man Games called Challengers, coming out November 25th. And that's it. That's all the games coming out to retail this week. You know, I say all games, but those are the games that I know are coming out to retail this week. There probably are a billion more games. A billion. There's probably like a lot more games coming out this week as well. However, those are the ones we can kind of pin down to the point where we know it's either coming out this week or we know they have a release date this week. So let me know if you're picking up any of these games. Yeah, and if you made it this far into the video, I appreciate it a lot. Thank you for watching this whole video and listening to me talk about these games. I appreciate it. I hope you found some value in this video, and if you did, please don't hesitate to subscribe or like the video or even drop a comment. That helps a lot with the channel and just letting me know that we're doing a good job and we should continue this video series. Thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate it, and have a good one.